Finally, it looks like I found a pry bar that doesn't suck and one that I might incorporate into my EDC going forward. What's going on, everybody? This is Lamar with MF Research, and today we are taking a look at this guy right here. This is the RL4 by MecArmy. They sent it to me for review to hear my thoughts. As always, I'm going to tell you what I like about it and areas where I think it can improve. All right, let's start by going over some of the specs. So they've got 3 material options according to the Kickstarter. They've got this one, the titanium alloy, an A2 steel, and a 3V steel. It all really just depends on what features you want the most. So if you want to go with the titanium, you're going to go lighter, and the way they market it, the steels will give you a more stronger material for a pry bar. So it's really up to you. You decide which one works best for you. And then as far as the titanium alloy with the weight, it weighs about 61 grams inside. They've got 3 4mm bits, just like this guy, which this is the EH4. We've talked about it before, but I thought I'd bring it along because there's certain comparisons between the two that I want to make, since they're both MecArmy products, and I think there's some things we can talk about when looking at the two of them. They've got 3 4mm double-sided bits, just like they did in this guy, and they've got the same T6, T8, the 3.5 slotted Phillips 0, and then they've got the H1.5 H2. They are magnetic in the main side, so that's a good thing. So let's put that in there so you can see. So you see that grip? They're magnetic, so that's awesome. That's a good thing to have. So let's put these back in here. And so they're all back in there, closed shut. There's a nice pocket clip on this guy. You can also use the pocket clip to incorporate some of MecArmy's accessories to add a little functionality. I think one of them is a flashlight, and that's pretty cool to add to this guy as well. And there's also a keychain loop right here. It comes with a little bit of paracord. I'll throw some B-roll right here of it because I didn't bring it with me. We'll get in close and we'll look at that detent mechanism again. I think it's pretty solid. There's a nice solid positive reinforcement when you open it and a solid click. So I don't think this is going to be any problem for a while to come. So we'll get nice and close so you can see that mechanism while it's working. So I think that's pretty good. It's the same mechanism on this guy, but I'd argue that this one is a little bit better, a little bit stronger. So I really like that. So while the plane was passing overhead, I took the opportunity to grab one of my Hoto bits as well. They fit in here as well. And the magnetism works a little bit. You can see that it does work. And these work just as well in here as well. So that's a good thing too. You can add a little bit more functionality by using your Hoto or any other 4mm bits. The only thing that comes in the box with this is the paracord that we mentioned earlier. You can use that here and make some sort of keychain with it. You can add it additional, or you can just use it when you use it as a keychain to give you some extra purchase. But I think given the size, I didn't have any problems with it. So I think it's fine as it is. I'm probably gonna leave it like this. I may put something on there. I don't know, we'll see. So now let's talk about why you would want something like this. I don't think it replaces something with the functionality of like the Hoto. I think it makes a more grab and go secondary option just to give you a little bit more functionality when you're on the way. Again, just like I said with the EH4, it could replace something like this or the Olight Otical D1. I do think this is a better option, just like I thought this is a better option just because there's a little bit more functionality. And I'm gonna be honest, I like this guy better than even this. So this is probably a good choice. I think if you're on the fence about a pry bar and not really sure, I think this is a good first pry bar to get or a good option just because it's got this functionality as well. I think that's a pretty good use of some of the excess space in here. You can use this as a secondary driver just to back that bolt out if you need a little extra support when you're trying to get those T6s or those T8s out. One of the things I'm thinking about is I'm in the market for an SSD enclosure, and this would be perfect to have on the go if I need to swap the different drives out. If I have a 1 terabyte and a 2, I can use this to swap them out pretty quick if I want to go that route or if I just want to get multiple. And when I get them initially, this will work just fine as far as putting them in. And you can use this for those things like prying, opening dirty boxes, stuff like that you don't want to mess the blade up on your knife on. This is perfect for that. I never really cared for a pry bar, but this one's been interesting, been using it for the past couple of weeks, and I am enjoying it. Not necessarily for everybody, but I do see some of the functionality in using a pry bar. And one of the things I like about this one in particular is given the size, it has a nice straight edge if you need to cut something short. Or what I've been doing is I've been taking my notebook and just using it as a straight edge to draw a nice straight line. I know I just drew that in the middle, but what I've really been doing is making like tables in here when I've been doing some comparisons. So just lining that up just like that is perfect for making my little tables that I need just to do comparisons. So you see those lines are pretty straight. I really like that. Now let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter. It is live at the release of this video. It looks like at this point it's already met the goal and fully backed already. You can get a good view of the different steel options, and you can get an idea of the accessory packages that MecArmy's put together. Find the one you need, find the material that meets your need, and I think you'll be satisfied with what you have so far. I don't like to just sit and talk about it. Here's what it looks like actually in action. I could use it, open it in a box. I wish I had it a month ago when I was putting some roof racks on my car. Would have been greatly appreciated. You can obviously use it as a flathead. And one of the things that I'm really a fan of is the fact that you can use it as a bottle opener without a bottle opener notch. I'm so glad there's no notch for a bottle opener. You don't need it. I swear every EDC tool has it, but I'm glad this one doesn't. Using it as a straight edge to draw a line or to cut something is fantastic for it. This is perfect for something like that. Hey, I hope you're liking the video so far. Don't forget to like, comment with any gear reviews you'd like to see in the future, and subscribe to MF for Research. Any support helps grow my little small corner of the EDC community. Now back to the video. So now let's talk about some of the things I like. First of all, it is very easy to use, as you guys have seen so far. The weight is light. I really think the size is really good. And I just think it fits in a pouch perfectly. I'll just grab one of those guys. This is the alpaca hub pouch, and I think it works very well in something like that. I can just throw this in this pocket right here. Belt clip right there. I'm just gonna make it in there right there. It's not pretty. I can fix that for real, but just for the sake of the video, you see that it fits in there. There's where it's at right there. Because of the belt clip, I'm gonna turn it around real quick just for the sake. You can see that's all the way down, plenty of space. This isn't one of the biggest pouches out there, but see, it fits in there no problem. So I think that's the way I would use it, is just in a pouch. The belt clip, as you've seen, is very strong. I swear you almost need a pry bar just to open the belt clip, but I think it'll work its way out, and I think that's good for retention. The included bits seem to be a really good choice for what you need. So far, they've met most of my needs, so I'm pretty happy with it. There were a couple times where I wish I had something a little bit different, but I'd say 85, 90% of the time, this is pretty good. It seems to be very well made. I don't think that the pry function right here, I don't think that's too thin or too thick. Either of those becomes a problem that I've seen in the few pry bars that I've handled. And I've mentioned it a few times, this section, the door for the bit housing, is very solid. So I think that's going to keep them well protected in there. It's a nice solid detent, so I really appreciate that. I like the fact that there's other steel options to meet your needs. So you can go for light, weight, or strength, whatever meets your needs. So I really like that. And I really like I mentioned before, there is an EDC tool marketed to the EDC community that does not have a integrated bottle opener anywhere on the tool. I always feel like if you need a bottle opener and you have your pouch or any tools with you, you're doing it wrong. You should be able to open a pouch with anything really. So now there's only a few things that I really think that it can be improved. If you're into a pry bar, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. But there's a few things that I think they could do. This loop, just like the EH4, it had this loop right here, which is very similar to this one, or it has this one for additional torque. I wouldn't mind, I don't necessarily need both. I would say remove this hole and just replace one of these areas to put your hex bits right there. I think this provides a better opportunity for adding additional torque than something like this would if you were using it versus this. So I like that idea. I think you could incorporate something like that. Now, a couple things they could possibly add just to add a little bit more functionality to the tool. Two would be a little more complicated, and two I think would be really simple to add. So first off, I think maybe a level, and I mentioned that in here. I think a small level, and I think that's something that's really underutilized in the EDC tools out there, is just incorporating the level. I use a level a few times a week, and I really wish that these would be incorporated. You could use them if you're shooting a video like this, hanging pictures, obviously, checking if your furniture is level, just stuff like that. You could just drop it like that, use it as a level, and be good to go. Right here, you could either do it on the whole area, part of the area, depending on what other tools you add. You could even add a small file right there. That would be very easy to incorporate. You could even do it right there from below the label, and that would be cool and easy to incorporate and add a little bit more functionality. And last up, I felt like the ruler was cool in execution. And I know one thing that would make it challenging because of this, you wouldn't have the uniform distance, but you could just stop it right there and just incorporate the same ruler etching on there. I think this serves better to have that ruler etching than something like this. So one more thing that I mentioned about this one is with a little practice, you could only take out one bit at a time that you needed and didn't have to take out all three of them. So I did like that on this one. I know because of the layout and design, that's not as easy to do, but I wish you could just take one bit out at a time in some kind of way. I don't think you can, but that's just an observation, something I would have liked. You just have to take them all out. It only adds a couple extra seconds, but something to consider as well. Maybe offer as an accessory just some additional bits out there. These are a good start, but you could really expand by adding different bit packages out there. Doesn't necessarily have to come with it, or you could bring it with it. So you have your A bits and your B bits. So like I have both of these guys. I could easily put one set of bits in here, one set of bits in here, and have a lot more functionality between the two. So what would you add to the RL4? How do you feel about pry bars? Let me know that in the comments. I'm still on the fence. This one's a good contender of something to add maybe some of the time, but I'm still on the fence. Let me know what you guys think about pry bars. As always, I'll put links in the description. I have, I think, maybe one affiliate link that I'll put in there for the EH4. And I'll have the link to the Kickstarter if you're interested in that. There's gonna be some videos on the screen you can take a look at. I'll put the video of the EH4 if you wanna see that for comparison, and some other videos that you can take a look at that I've done in the past. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other. This is Lamar with MF Research, and I'm out.